The man, who was 11 years my senior, became a means for me to vent when I was a fan. This man, whom I call Dalin, has a thriving career. However, I'm not married and I'm not a third party. I'm 21 years old, while he is 32. It's a working relationship. At first, I simply regarded him as my client and had no other thoughts. But he wasn't as he should have seemed from the beginning. I had certain inklings when I saw him. He asked for my phone number, claiming it was for the convenience of future work. I didn't think much about it at that time and gave it to him. That was the second time we met. Within 2 days, he called me. I thought he had some work. I casually asked if there was any task I needed to assist with. His response was, "Can't I call you if there's no work?" That's how it all started. We began communicating through phone calls and text messages. I saw him as an elder brother, but a woman's natural sixth sense told me that he was fond of me. He even admitted it. However, at that time, I had a boyfriend with whom I had been in a relationship for nearly 2 years. Precisely at that time, our relationship was also in a mess. To be exact, our relationship has always had problems. He is 22 years old, still playful and immature, which is something I dislike. I have been waiting for the day when he can become mature and stable, but after waiting for almost 2 years, he remains the same. Our relationship was tepid and on the verge of breaking up. When Dalin expressed his feelings for me, I rejected him because I still had a boyfriend then. I couldn't accept his affection. At first, I didn't have intense feelings for Dalin either. We just sent occasional texts and chatted online. He still showed his fondness for me. It was under this kind of steady, mature and confident interaction of his that I was drawn. I started to have a crush on him, a faint liking. It wasn't until I broke up with my boyfriend that my mood was naturally not good, but I could also accept his feelings calmly. During an online chat, we talked about my boyfriend. I informed him that we had split up. He seemed a little agitated and asked me why I hadn't told him sooner. I just thought there was no need to say much. In this way, we continued to care for each other as friends. One night, after work, I went to dinner with a friend. He called and said he wanted to come and see me, but I didn't refuse. He came and we chatted casually for a while, not saying much. When he went home, he said he wanted to send us, but I declined. The place to eat was close to home, so my friend and I went back by ourselves. We have always maintained this ambiguous relationship. He is a very confident man. At first, when he confessed to me, I refused. At that time, he said that one day you will like me, but at that time, I was confident enough to tell him that it was impossible. Thinking about it now, it's somewhat self-defeating. I can only say that he is the type of man I like. In one chat, he asked me, "Are you still with your boyfriend?" Everyone understands the implication, and I don't need to explain it explicitly. I didn't answer him directly but just asked if it made a difference, because I detest men with a virgin complex. Dalin said he hoped I was. Dalin's answer disappointed me a little. This shouldn't be the answer of true love for a girl. I told Dalin that you were disappointed. I wasn't, although I had been with my ex-boyfriend for 2 years. He always respected me. We hadn't had sex, Darlene began to make me feel more and more that he didn't want to have a normal romantic relationship with me, even though I knew by now that I already liked him. I naively thought I could make him truly fall in love with me and not just have physical needs. During an online chat, Darlene said that he wanted to see me in the evening because I have long working hours and usually don't get off work until 2 o'clock. If I work overtime, it's uncertain, so I agreed. Unfortunately, I had work that needed to be done late that day. He said he would wait for me, but I refused because it was around 2 or 3 o'clock in the second half of the night and he had to work the next day, so I didn't want him to work so hard. But I also had my own selfish reasons. One was that I had also worked overtime the previous 2 days and it was very tiring. The second was that I thought it wasn't safe to be so late. After all, he is a mature man and I was really a little scared. But in the end, he didn't listen to my repeated insistence and didn't wait for me. 2 days later, around 11 o'clock at midnight, he called me. I was already half asleep. He said he wanted to see me. I looked at my watch and it was very late, so I refused. It wasn't long before he called again, saying that he must see me today. I agreed and told him the location of my house. To be honest, I was really a little scared after I agreed, but I still chose to trust him. And we met, hee. Then we went to the hotel. I don't know why I went with him. Maybe I wanted to prove something. But he opened a room with 2 beds, which reassured me a lot. I could understand his thoughts, but I couldn't accept them. That night, we started sleeping in separate beds. He asked me to come and share a bed with him. He said he wouldn't touch me, but I refused. I'm a 21-year-old, not a 12-year-old little girl who knows nothing. He asked me repeatedly, but I refused every time. One of my not so good problems is that I am picky about the bed. I couldn't sleep no matter how I tossed and turned. My phone was in the pocket of my coat, and the coat was on his side. I got out of bed to get the phone. Just as I came back from picking up the phone and passed by his bedside, he suddenly got up, hugged me, and put me onto the bed. I struggled to break free, but our strength was too different. He hugged me and told me not to be afraid. He wouldn't do anything to me. He just wanted to hug me. It was just a hug and I confirmed with him, and he nodded. I obediently lay down beside him, but in less than a minute, he started kissing me. I immediately pushed him away and questioned, "Didn't you say just hugging?" He smiled wickedly but didn't stop kissing me. The more I tried to push him away, the tighter he hugged me. But I knew my principles and never allowed him to go too far. He didn't force either. He held me in his arms that night, but I never fell asleep. Firstly, because I was picky about the bed. Secondly, there was a man beside me, making it even harder to sleep. I felt safe when he held me. As soon as I moved, he would hold me a little tighter, as if he was afraid I would run away. At that time, I had a sweet feeling in my heart and was also embarrassed. I loved his kisses. I also kissed a lot with my ex-boyfriend, but it didn't feel like this. After that night, I discovered that I liked him even more, but just after that night, he revealed his true thoughts. Dalin told me that he liked me very much but just wished I could be his lover and didn't want to have a normal relationship with me. But after that night, he knew I wasn't a casual person or an urban girl, so he didn't want to hurt me and didn't want to get himself into trouble. So, in that case, let's pretend nothing happened. That's what I said. And thus, we ended. But I still like him in my heart and can't let go, because he's the type of man I like, mature, steady, confident and enterprising. So I came here to share with everyone and I feel much better now.